You are on the Prayers and Faith channel. May God bless you today and always. But I found it interesting because she is experiencing a conflict that has been very common these days. She says, "Father, what has made me suffer is my questioning about life. I see myself. I love myself. I care about what people think of me. I use criticism to improve. The compliments between my ego, okay? In fact, I was like that until I started to question myself why I feel satisfied with these things. After all, it only matters to me. And to conclude that we are all alone, deep down, we are alone. To reach this conclusion, 20 if you waited, you even took away the meaning of what I had. I had for this recognition that the other gives me. I feel alone. And how can you? Only I care about myself. When I talk to myself, I feel welcomed, but when I think about myself, what other people say are words thrown away. I see how important only I am to me. My loneliness deepens, and I ask myself, then what is the point of living? Why study, work, procreate, if that is all there is? Toit only makes sense to me. I want to be myself again, because I've always loved it, being who I am, and today I found it very difficult. Experiencing this feeling, that's very common these days, not this loss of meaning in life. First, she says something here that is very true. Deep down, we are alone. No one can free us from this loneliness. In fact, this book that I'm going to release now, God willing in June, is called The Fate of Absences. The Fate of Absences is a book of short stories. In What Me, using story characters, I deal with it, not with this natural orphanhood, this insufficiency of the human condition, which is deep down. I end up having to experience my most fundamental issues alone. Of course, someone else by my side helps me. But ultimately, it's me and my miseries, right? The other can't access everything I am the way we like. I always like to say because I am a totally other. The other is a totally other. No matter how much I am next to that person, I have no way to access their totality. And this inability to be accessed in our totality generates loneliness, a feeling of being alone, because it is that moment when you have no words to define what you feel. That is loneliness. It is that feeling that not even you understand. It is that pain that not even you understand why it exists. It is messy, a place of solitude where all these feelings live, which are they difficult to understand? Now, it's interesting that modern society has greatly accentuated this feeling of loneliness due to the characteristics that are typical of today, right? The difficulty of bonds, as we've already said at other times, the ease with which people despise each other, with which they exchange each other, the lack of fidelity, the lack of trust, often the lack of truth in the relationship. This often deepens this loneliness. It makes us feel increasingly lonely. And I say again, not this loneliness of not having someone by your side. I'm not talking about the one you experience inevitably, even if you're surrounded by people. Even in the opening of the book, I'm writing a text to put there. I was thinking about this yesterday. I was writing there is no human care that can help us from this feeling of loneliness. I think it's the loneliness we will experience at the time of death, right? Which is when you even have a doctor holding your hand. Even if you have 11 friends, a mother, will you go alone? I'm not denying that the spiritual dimension. No, I'm talking about the material. It's this cost that ends, this body that suffers. Lonely, isn't it? Then the sea helps us understand that this experience will be lived in the presence of God, and that He gives us support and comfort, right? The strength to overcome this frontier. Okay, faith teaches us this. Now, anthropologically, we're going to face this very hard. Now, what can I do so that this orphanhood, this loneliness, doesn't take away my experiences? Like here, it's not. This girl once had it very easy to be who she was. Much praised by everyone. Certainly a very loved person. But suddenly, she plunged into this loneliness and discovered that it was worth nothing. There's no point in others recognizing me if I don't recognize myself. There's no point in others loving me if I don't want myself. If I don't accept myself, and my people, we come to this issue that we've touched on so many times, but it's always relevant. It always needs to be said. The human being who doesn't accept themselves, the human being who doesn't know themselves, who isn't willing to live this dilemma of being who they are, they won't achieve it. They won't be able to live this fulfillment. They will get lost because today's world has made it increasingly difficult to know themselves. We can't be superficial. We need to increasingly overcome this comfort that self-ignorance can bring us. Why the lack of knowledge, the lack of self-knowledge? It's even lacking. It can generate temporary comfort. Then I don't care about my problems. I want more than living my life. I want more than getting on with my day-to-day life. Let go of the problems. The other day I decided, well, sooner or later life will demand it from us. That's why self-knowledge is important. And we start learning this as children when we are well guided in this process. It will create more willing adults and more, with a slightly better immunity. Isn't it to handle this life? Because if you're not careful, if you don't realize it, you run the risk of getting tied down, of dragging all the dilemmas that should have been resolved in adolescence into youth, and from youth to mature age and then into old age. So why didn't you resolve it? That conflict at the right time, you run the risk of not being able to resolve it later, because they are all accumulated. Overcoming this superficiality one day, it's inevitable. Look at our culture. It encourages superficiality. The environments we frequent often encourage superficiality, as you can see in the loudness of the music, which prevents people from talking. The book that often catches our attention. The book we sometimes want. In fact, this book is so boring. I don't really understand it. Why? Why is that? Is state reading taking me out of my comfort zone? I really like reading things I don't understand at first, because I leave my comfort zone and read what I already know. What's the point of that? I need to constantly leave my comfort zone. And this is existential if I want to be able to handle myself better. If I want to better manage myself, I have to leave my comfort zone. And how do I leave my comfort zone in my relationships, in my encounters with others, with those who are different from me, and even with my friends who are similar to me? I can also leave my comfort zone as long as I, Perseus, allow that relationship to not be superficial. For the love of God, we cannot have a superficial attitude. Our desire must always be to reach the deepest part of ourselves. I need to motivate myself to want to dive deeper and deeper into deeper waters. It is John Paul II's proposal at that time that is still relevant today. Jesus' proposal for us is this: let's leave the margin, let's deepen our process of, and we won't know how to manage it. It's superficial. It doesn't favor the experience of solitude. This is a common fact. I don't support it. Being alone, that's impossible. So I can't stand to stop working. I can't stand to be quiet. What's that? Yeah, but that's how I am. That's where the comfort zone is. The word, I am like this. It means a comfort zone. But who said you have to stay like this your whole life? Who said that you, even being an active worker, being dynamic, who said that you can't also be fond of reflection that will make you stop? You don't like to read. Who said you'll die without being able to do it? Then awaken in you a taste for reading. Are you expecting depth? You only listen to that music that you don't. Are you able to experience depth? Because it gives us the conditions to deal with our most fundamental issues. And we can't die without resolving these conflicts, you know? I always want to offer the Spiritual Direction Program as an opportunity for us to delve deeper into these human issues so that we can reflect on life, and from the reflection we make, go beyond this comfort zone to arrive on the other side a little better than when we are right here. Thank you for watching. You are very special to us. We hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't subscribed yet, do so now so you don't miss new content. And here's a suggestion for your next video. May God bless, protect, and enlighten you every day.